Heartbreak could indeed be on the horizon for Finn Bálor in a significant and potentially career-altering way. Recent developments in WWE programming have pointed toward major shifts for the former Universal Champion, particularly within the dynamics of the Judgment Day faction. Alongside that storyline, there are intriguing updates involving AJ Lee and her ongoing rivalry with Becky Lynch, as well as growing speculation around the mysterious master assailant targeting members of the Vision stable, including questions about Bronson Reed's possible involvement. Let's dive deeper into these narratives, starting with the evolving situation surrounding Finn Bálor. One of the most noticeable and positive changes for Finn Bálor in recent weeks has been the full-time return of his original entrance theme, Catch Your Breath. This track, which originally accompanied him during his early main roster days and became synonymous with his rise as a prince, was temporarily shelved in favor of a newer, more Judgment Day-aligned piece of music. That newer theme lacked the same energy and crowd interaction that made Balor's entrances memorable. Fans often recall how Catch Your Breath features specific moments where the audience raises their hands in unison with Balor, creating an electric, participatory atmosphere that elevates the entire presentation. The song made a triumphant comeback during Balor's World Heavyweight Championship match in his home country of Ireland earlier this year, leading many to speculate whether it was merely a nostalgic one-off for the special occasion. However, over the subsequent episodes of Monday Night Raw, Balor has consistently walked out to Catch Your Breath, and he has since confirmed that the theme is back permanently. This decision feels deliberate and strategic on WWE's part. Bringing back an iconic, fan-favorite entrance theme is rarely accidental. It signals an intent to reconnect the performer with the audience on a deeper level. Interactive elements in entrances, like crowd chants, synchronized gestures, or sing-alongs, help transform a wrestler's arrival into something special and memorable. Examples abound in current WWE. Trick Williams has built momentum through his infectious entrance chant that fans eagerly join, while Jey Uso's YE calls have become a staple that ignites arenas. In contrast, Balor's previous theme offered little for live crowds to latch onto, resulting in entrances that felt flat and disconnected despite his in-ring prowess. The reversion to Catch Your Breath strongly suggests WWE aims to rebuild Balor's popularity and position him as a more relatable figure. This musical shift aligns with broader hints that a full babyface transition may be imminent for Balor. After years entangled in heel antics as part of the Judgment Day, signs of a character evolution have been mounting, and the classic theme serves as a foundational piece in that rebuild. It evokes his solo Prince era, when he was celebrated for his athleticism, technical skill, and undeniable charisma without the baggage of faction drama. The February 16th, 2026 episode of Raw provided even stronger evidence that significant changes are brewing for Balor. In a heated in-ring confrontation, Balor interrupted World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. Accompanying him were Dominic Mysterio and, notably, the returning JD McDonough, who had been absent from television since late 2025. The reinforcements made the scene intimidating as the Judgment Day members surrounded Punk, heightening tensions ahead of their championship clash at Elimination Chamber. Punk, ever the provocateur, took direct shots at Balor, acknowledging his immense talent but arguing that the Judgment Day had not elevated him. Instead, the group had pulled him down to their level, diluting his potential and turning him into a shadow of his former self. Balor fired back passionately, claiming the mantle of the true best in the world. He highlighted his extensive travels, rigorous training in renowned dojos across Japan, and his memorable main roster debut in 2016, where he defeated Roman Reigns on his first night on Raw, an impressive feat that showcased his arrival as a top-tier threat. The exchange grew intense, with Punk turning his back on the trio and daring them to attack him from behind. In a pivotal moment, Balor physically restrained both Mysterio and McDonough, preventing any ambush. This act of restraint stood in stark contrast to the ruthless, opportunistic style typically associated with the Judgment Day. Later that same night, a backstage segment further illustrated the internal fractures within the faction. Raquel Rodriguez was seen taking a dejected Liv Morgan for a supportive walk, as Morgan continued to grapple with harsh word from Stephanie McMahon. Meanwhile, Dominic Mysterio was visibly agitated about an upcoming match, while Finn Bálor and JD McDonough engaged in a heated argument over the earlier ring incident. McDonough expressed fury at Balor's decision not to capitalize on the opportunity to assault Punk. In McDonough's view, a targeted attack would have weakened Punk heading into Elimination Chamber, making a title victory more attainable for Balor. Yet Balor, displaying a mindset increasingly aligned with honor and fairness, rejected the idea of a cheap shot. He insisted on handling the situation alone and doing things the right way, without underhanded tactics. This disagreement marked a rare and significant clash between Balor and McDonough. Throughout the Judgment Day's various dramas, power struggles, betrayals, and shifting alliances, McDonough had consistently remained one of Balor's most loyal allies, often acting as his right-hand man. Seeing them at odds for the first time carried substantial weight. McDonough was arguably the last unwavering supporter Balor had within the group. With even that relationship showing cracks, Balor appears increasingly isolated, with no true allies left in the Judgment Day. This isolation fuels speculation about what the faction might orchestrate during Balor's world title match against Punk at Elimination Chamber. Despite Balor's stated desire to face Punk one-on-one, clues suggest Mysterio and McDonough will likely appear at ringside. Rather than aiding Balor in retaining or capturing the championship, the prevailing theory is that they will betray him, costing him the match and leading to his expulsion from the Judgment Day. Fan discussions have circulated this betrayal scenario for weeks, and McDonough's return, combined with his differing philosophy from Balor, makes it feel more probable than ever. The moment would serve as a dramatic exit for Balor from the stable, potentially involving interference that hands Punk the victory and sets up a post-match beatdown or official ousting. Such a betrayal aligns perfectly with Balor's shifting demeanor. On the February 16th Raw and in preceding weeks, he has visibly shed his heel tendencies. No more ambushes, no more disrespectful shortcuts. This change has likely frustrated the remaining Judgment Day members, who thrive on chaos and opportunism. If Balor is no longer willing to operate as a traditional heel, the group may see him as a liability and decide to cut ties in the most humiliating way possible, by sabotaging his biggest opportunity in years. Should this play out at Elimination Chamber, the fallout could complete Balor's transformation into a full-fledged babyface. Paired with the return of Catch Your Breath, the betrayal would provide a compelling sympathetic arc fans would rally behind him as a wronged veteran who finally breaks free from a toxic environment. In the aftermath, Balor could pivot toward new pursuits, such as challenging Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, positioning him as a top babyface contender in the mid-card before potentially climbing back toward world title contention down the line, this time as a heroic figure beloved by the audience. Elimination Chamber promises to be a defining night for Balor, one that could reshape his trajectory and reinvigorate his standing in WWE. Shifting focus to the women's division, AJ Lee delivered pointed comments on a recent Raw regarding her ongoing issues with Becky Lynch. Lee expressed frustration that she did not return to WWE solely to feud with Lynch. She rattled off an extensive list of dream opponents she hoped to face upon her comeback, including top stars like Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, members of the Judgment Day, Bayley, and several others. Unfortunately, she lamented that her path has been blocked by the persistent conflict with Lynch, preventing her from pursuing those desired matchups. At Elimination Chamber, Lee and Lynch are set to collide one-on-one for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. However, widespread rumors indicate this bout will not serve as a definitive conclusion to their rivalry. Instead, insiders suggest a rematch is already being planned for WrestleMania 42, where the encounter would represent a true culmination of their storyline. This speculation has fans anticipating some form of interference, controversial finish, or post-match angle at Elimination Chamber that extends the feud and justifies another high-stakes clash at the Showcase of the Immortals. For AJ Lee, a WrestleMania 42 singles match would carry immense significance. It would mark her first return to WrestleMania since 2015's WrestleMania 31, and more importantly, her first ever singles bout at the event. Lee's previous WrestleMania appearances were limited to a multi-woman match in a tag team contest, so stepping into a one-on-one spotlight at WrestleMania will be a landmark achievement in her comeback story. The build-up promises additional weeks of tension between Lee and Lynch following Elimination Chamber, keeping audiences invested in their personal and professional clashes. Another storyline generating buzz among fans involves the Vision stable and the enigmatic masked man who has been systematically targeting its members. This mysterious figure has attacked nearly every prominent name in the group, picking them off one by one in calculated assaults, often concluding with a signature curb stomp. Notably, however, Bronson Reed has so far escaped this pattern of violence. This omission has sparked a fan theory that Reed might share some hidden connection to the masked assailant, perhaps even collaborating behind the scenes or serving as an inside link that explains why he remains untouched. The theory, while intriguing, hangs in the balance. Recent weeks have followed a consistent trend. The masked man strikes one Vision member per episode of Raw. With Reed as the apparent final target yet to be hit, the upcoming February 23rd edition could prove decisive. If the assailant follows a pattern and attacks Reed, delivering the expected curb stomp, the Bronson Reed connection idea would likely be debunked, putting the speculation to rest. On the other hand, if Reed avoids another assault, the theory would gain significant traction, prompting deeper questions about alliances, motives, and potential reveals within the Vision. The stable's internal dynamics, already complicated by injuries and leadership shifts, make this mystery even more compelling. These stories collectively highlight WWE's focus on character development, faction turmoil, and long-term storytelling as major events like Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania 42 approach. Balor's potential heartbreak within the Judgment Day could lead to one of his most compelling runs in years, while AJ Lee's return adds fresh energy to the women's division, and the Vision saga keeps viewers guessing about hidden betrayals. What unfolds next will shape the road to WrestleMania and beyond, with plenty of drama still to come.